It's another South African football show, and today we're going to be talking about the World Club Cup, where our dear own Mamelodi Sundowns will be representing Africa in the United States. And we need to discuss that and more. Is Brian and Mustafa Jinodi. You guys are welcome to another football show.
Thank you for having us again.
Yeah, welcome. Okay, so I came up with the title for this show for Sundowns for winning the championship. Mission Impossible. Let me stop. The real reason I say that is because they have to play Borussia Dortmund, and Fluminense, who's in Brazil. Who's the third team from Asia?
Ulsan Hyundai from Korea.
Yeah, the reason I say Mission Impossible is because as good as they are, when I know if they're ready to beat Borussia and Fluminense, we know that they came second in the Cup of Nations, or what do they call the competition? The African
CAF Champions League.
Yeah, they were unlucky. They were unlucky and lost out to penalties. But so this will be the ultimate test for the quality of football that's being played in the league. Personally, I think Sundowns, if you look at them all over the world, they're probably a middle grade team, which means they're not a bad team, but they're not a great team. But unfortunately, they have a Brazilian team that they have to meet in this group, and they have Borussia. So that may be a problem, but we have to see what squads these teams bring out. But I think personally they can draw or beat the team from Asia, and I think they can either lose or draw with Fluminense. But I think the big problem is going to be Borussia. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Yeah, that's true. Like you said, they could try and clinch a draw against Borussia or Fluminense, but a win is possible against Ulsan because they are not so strong.
Yeah.
And with the other two teams, they have a global level pedigree. So it will be a bit hard for them.
Yeah, even though Fluminense is coming fifth in the Brazilian league, it's just that when you hear the word Brazil, everybody's afraid. But my feeling is that a lot of these Brazilian teams is about dribbling and stuff. They're not so tactically sound. So maybe Sundowns has a little bit of tactical playing that might be able to see them draw or win 1-0 at best. So to me, that game is kind of unknown. We don't know what can happen. But I do think that the only way they're going to beat Borussia or draw with them is if Borussia brings some of their really good players. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yeah, that's very right. I think, Mamelodi Sundowns, I think they do have a chance against the Asian team. I think they can beat the Asian team, Ulsan Hyundai. I think Mamelodi Sundowns are very well organized, coached by a Portuguese, Miguel Cardoso. The guy seems to have brought together very physically strong players. And I think Sundowns need to really put in their physicality. They need to show them that they're a typical African team. That will really help them in the competition. And they have a couple of decent players. Their goalkeeper is very, very good, Rowan Williams. You know, he's one that has won a lot of accolades. They have veteran midfielder Mokoena, who is another very, very good player.
World class, yeah.
Yeah, that guy is a very good player. And then they have the Chilean also, Marcelo Allende, and a couple of very good players too. I feel their best opportunity to qualify would be beat the Korean team, and then there possibly could be an upset, either Fluminense or Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund, to me, are the strongest team in this group. For Fluminense are relying on experience because they have a lot of old Brazilian players that are quite experienced. Thiago Silva, who just left Chelsea, is now their captain in Fluminense. So they're going to rely on his experience. And they have been at the World Club Cup a couple of times before it was expanded to 32 teams. But I feel if Mamelodi Sundowns can beat the Korean team and at least get a draw against either Fluminense or Borussia Dortmund, they're a good. They could be good value for a dark horse in this tournament.
Oh yeah, they can qualify.
They could qualify.
Yeah, they can qualify, and the key, Borussia is going to definitely not going to get beaten, I don't think. But the question is, who do they play? Because they are tired. They've done a lot of cups and leagues, matches. The seasons are too long. Brian, give us some insight. What style of play does Mamelodi use? My guess is that they use a low block because a lot of the South African teams use that, but I'm not sure. What type how do they play defensively? Do they play high or low? Do they press, or do they just play it from the back and use combination passes to the forward? How do they play?
They dominate the ball. They play a ball dominant game and tactical play, and it sort of mirrors the European teams, and I think that could come as a surprise for most. Yeah.
Yeah, and do they play their defense high or do they sit back? Because I know in the African Nations Cup when South Africa was playing, they were playing low block. So do they? The reason I ask is because if they come too far high, they're going to be subject to counterattacks from the Brazilians and the Fluminense and Borussia, because Borussia uses their wing backs a lot. But if they sit back, then they can contain that. But I think that's the way South Africa plays: sit back, and just teams in general, they sit back, and then when they get the ball, they pass it. Like you say, so that's a good thing. What do you think, Afolabi?
I agree with you. Over the years, Sundowns have typically played a Barcelona kind of possession-based football in South Africa. They love possession. They play with their fullbacks high and
the old Barcelona, not the new Barcelona. Yeah, the old Barcelona. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so they like this one-touch possession kind of football, and they rely a lot on their flair and attacking play. But in this kind of competition where you have a lot of quality in your group, like you rightly mentioned, Mustafa, they can decide to switch to a low block and play on the counter attack, which I think would favor them, absorb pressure, and then hit the teams on the counter attack. I don't think they'll push their defense too far forward because of the quality of the opposition in the group. I think that will serve them better. I believe their coach is aptly astute to know what kind of tactics to play, but I don't see them playing too expansive in this tournament.
No, yeah, but I think we're going to see a lot of tactical matches, which is why you may see a lot of draws in their group, to be honest with you. But I think Flamengo, we all know Brazil. I said Flamengo. I'm thinking about Fluminense. Fluminense, guys are going to come out and play with a lot of flair. So that might be the biggest game of the tournament. Will be not the tournament of that group, Fluminense versus Sundowns. I think that might be because I think those guys are going to. You know how the Brazilians are. They're not really tactical. They're going to come out. And it's funny, the Brazilians versus the Brazilians.
Of course.
That's going to be a good one.
There's going to be
I'm going to have my pop ready. I'm going to have my pop ready. I'm going to have clip drip. And I'm also going to have Black Label when I watch that game, man. I'm serious, man. That's just going to be fun. What are your thoughts about that game and about the way South Africa plays? I mean, not South Africa. I'm not Sundowns play and that match against Fluminense. What are your thoughts, Brian?
If someone says Sundowns has no chance, we have to remind them of TP Mazembe in 2010. Do you remember when they beat that team from Brazil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, also Al Ahly as well. They finished third in most of the tournaments that they've played. So African sides, they can compete, but they must just play smart,
Yeah, personally, I believe that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe their main challenges could be the tempo show because those teams play high tempo football, and it's nothing compared to what Sundowns faces in the PSL.
Yeah,
and maybe the experience gap as well could count because it's their first time facing these kind of opponents back to back.
Yeah, back to back. So prep will be hard. But what I would say about African football in general is not that we're behind Europe. It's just that the best teams in Europe are better than the best teams in Africa. But in general, African teams are sort of in the middle. Like in the World Cup, we can qualify some. We're just as good as the Asian teams, and we're just as good as most European teams. Like, for example, if South Africa plays Serbia in the World Cup, that game might end up a draw. But if they play Germany, they'll lose. So my thing is that African football is there. It's just that there are a few teams like Portugal, France, and Spain which take it to another level. You understand? And Germany, too. They take it to another level. So it's not that we're bad. It's just that we don't have teams that are in the top 99%, the top 1% of the world. What do you think of Falabi?
Yeah, absolutely. We have the flair. We have the natural talent. It's just the areas where I feel Sundowns need to watch out for when it comes to set plays, corner kicks, free kicks, stuff. That's one area where I feel Africa always falls short. If they can defend set plays well, and defend free kicks and all those kind of half chances. The Fluminense and the Korean team, Asian teams are typically well organized. They may not have as much flair, but they're typically well organized.
Asian team play a little bit like South Africa, in which depend on your wingers, very fast.
Very,
And
very
they
fast.
also pass the ball. They
Very,
basic
very
attacker,
fast.
like especially in Korea. Yeah.
Very, very fast. So they need
They're
to
fast,
watch.
but they're not physical. They're not
They're
physical.
not physical. So, and that's one area where I feel Sundowns can really leverage on. It's a typical African team. They should bring their physicality to bear, in contesting balls, in the 1v1 situations. They should be as physical as possible so that at least they can have the aggression to push forward and win balls and, put the opponent under pressure. If they do that, they have a chance. I think they can beat Ulsan and probably get a draw with either Dortmund or Fluminense. They have a chance.
I agree. Very good. Last thoughts, Brian, on anything you want to bring about the tournament, any insights you might have.
Well, one, they must beat Ulsan. That's a must win, of course.
They don't do that one. Then I'm not paying
that's a definitely must win.
No Lobola.
Maybe snatch a draw against Dortmund.
No, they gotta win.
Okay, we'll accept a loss against Dortmund because it's Dortmund. Okay, maybe a draw against Fluminense will be better, and if they can stay compact, like you said earlier on, and punish on the counter. Another thing, they should avoid early goals. Early goals.
Although they're in America, so they should watch out for Elon Musk because he's there. He's gonna be saying, "What's happening, man?" So I agree with you. Yeah. So I think the main thing is they got to come out with a win. That's a big must. They must win against Ulsan, and they should try. And I think they have a very good shot of drawing with Fluminense. I don't know about beating, and they may be able to beat Fluminense if Fluminense is reckless like most Brazilian teams that just thinks one way.
Even a win is good. Yeah.
So we're going to shoot 2 wins and a loss or a draw. So we're shooting 6 points is possible for South Africa.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think they'll get anywhere between 6 to 4 points. That's my prediction. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, I think I'll predict Dortmund to top the group and Sundowns to finish as runners-up. If they can win and draw, I think they have a good chance to finish as runners-up.
So the real name of the show is Mission Possible. but we're going to put Mission Impossible on the thumbnail so that people can click and get angry.
Yeah, football is about moments, not names.
Yeah, moments. All right, guys. Yeah. Brilliant show. I think we're good for this week. Brian, I'll see you. I think we have something to do on Sunday, I think on art or something like that. All right, thank you, guys. Right. Beautiful show. Like and subscribe to our channel. We stand for African football, Nigeria, Egypt. Oh, we got to forget about our boys in Egypt. They're there too. Good luck to them. Right? An Egyptian team is there too, right?
Yeah, I think it's Ali.
Definitely,
the champions from Africa. Yeah, so we got to watch out for them. So take us out, Afolabi.
Yeah, another wonderful football show from South Africa from myself, Brian, and Mustafa. We'll be back again.
Thank you, guys. Okay.